Broadcasts of the City of Neenah Common Council meetings are produced by University Studios of the University of Wisconsin-Fox Valley. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents via the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues or about these broadcasts by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or by completing the electronic feedback form on the city website, www.neenahgov.org. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited for playback.
Good evening. I'd like to call to order the City of Neenah Common Council meeting for Wednesday, June 21st. The first item on the agenda is the roll call. Please indicate your presence on your roll call device and indicate your presence as the clerk calls the roll.
Alderperson Boyette.
Here.
Erickson.
Here.
Hillstrom.
Here.
Lendrum.
Here.
Steiner.
Here.
Stevenson.
Here.
Skirms.
Here.
Weber.
Here.
And Borchert.
Here.
There's something wrong with Alderman Erickson's call device.
It's not. But it says present.
The clerk just marked it for you.
Director Hayes fixed mine last time, so that's why I called him over. I know he knows how to do it.
Okay.
I have a clue.
Doesn't have. Okay. Turn it off and on.
They're on. Today. Sure.
Thank you.
There's that.
No. Thank you, Director Hayes, for your assistance. Alderman Steiner will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
United States, Republic, one nation.
The next item on the agenda is introduction and confirmations of mayor's appointments. There are none. Next item on the agenda is the approval of council proceedings of June 7th, 2023, and the Committee of the Whole meeting of June 7th, 2023. Is there any objection to unanimous consent of the passage of those council proceedings? Seeing none, those minutes are approved. The next item on the agenda is the public forum. This is the opportunity for anyone from the public to speak during this time. You're allowed 5 minutes to speak on any topic that you have interest in. And please give your name and residential address as you speak into the microphone. Thank you for being here.
My name is Wendy Shapansky, address 1037 Oak Street, Neenah. I didn't want to have to come here on a beautiful summer night. However, my husband emailed our alderman, Mr. Borchert, on June 12th, and we have received nothing back. In the email, we even asked when the council would be meeting. Luckily, on the Neenah Facebook site, Alder Lady Carrie saw a post of mine and kindly responded with her phone number and asked that I call her. So I am glad she is aware of this issue of fireworks and noise of the fireworks and has been actively helping our concerns. I am wondering why our alderman, though, has chosen to ignore us. My husband looked up 2022's police blotter, and it stated there were 0 fines given out. Back in 2017, the city of Neenah made the WBAY local news with the huge continued problem of illegal fireworks being used in our neighborhoods, being done weeks before the 4th of July and at least a week after, but it's a lot longer, at all hours and all hours of the night. Has anything been done about this issue, including the noise ordinances? 6 years ago? No, nothing. Actually, it has worsened. There's always that 1 or 2 neighbors who think they don't have to obey the laws. And currently, they are right, because all they get is a warning. I know it can't be fun for the officers to be finding these neighbors, but it is literally their job to enforce. Why not utilize more auxiliary officers during the week leading up to the 4th and the week after? Let's actually stop just talking and complaining and do something. When will the city of Neenah take this seriously and enforce their own laws? It says fines up to $1,000. I think it would deter if the police would actually hand out those fines. And I'm pretty sure that the city could use that money for lots of things. Clearly the police going to their homes and telling them to stop doesn't work. These are adults, not children. And we shouldn't have to drug our pets because they are terrified. And not to mention, along with that, because of so many days in advance, I mean, it's like nobody knows when somebody's going to shoot one off. Maybe you don't even care about the animals this affects. So how about thinking of all the veterans who have PTSD? When you do call the police, the general attitude is, well, it's the 4th of July, and it's only once a year. What if Neenah set the standard of firework and noise ordinances, that they were going to actually be fined? Perhaps other communities would do the same and follow suit. So let's not just have a conversation about this. Let's have some action after all these years, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak during the public forum portion of tonight's meeting? The next item on the agenda then is Mayor Council consideration of public forum issues. Is there anyone who would like to comment on the public forum? Seeing no one, I will just make a statement that I would be happy to have a one-on-one conversation with you if you would like to set that up. Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Is there any objection to unanimous consent of the consent agenda? Seeing none, the consent agenda is approved. The next item on the agenda is reports of standing committees, regular Public Services and Safety Committee meeting of June 13th, 2023. Alderman Lendrum.
Thank you, Mayor. Reporting out from the regular Public Services and Safety Committee meeting of June 13th, 2023. Minutes can be found on the city website. Item number 1, committee recommends council adopt Resolution 2023-12, Compliance Maintenance Annual Report, CMAR, of the city's sewer collection system submitted annually to the Department of Natural Resources, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lendrum, seconded by Alderman Hillstrom. Is there any discussion? Alderman Lendrum.
I just want to mention that our staff has received an A on that report, as they do every single year. So we are very proud of that.
Thank you for that comment. Are there any other comments or questions on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0 to approve and adopt Resolution 2023-12.
Item number 2, committee recommends council approve the purchase of the Vactor 2100i 2023 combination sewer and hydraulic vac truck from McQueen Equipment in the amount of $509,419, and the purchase of a new two-way radio and communication set for an amount not to exceed $2,500, with the funding source being coming from the capital equipment budget of $525,000, and I would so move, and I have a photo to show you.
There's a motion by Alderman Lendrum, seconded by Alderman Borcher.
Here is what it looks like. You can find it on the city website. That is a monster.
Thank you for that picture. Are there any other comments or questions regarding this item? The motion is to approve the purchase of the Vactor 2100i 2023 combination sewer and hydraulic vac truck from McQueen Equipment. Alderman Boyette.
Thank you, Mayor. My just quick question, because I don't have it in front of me, was this in our borrowing for the budget? It
Yes.
was. And are we within our budget on this?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0.
Item number 3, committee recommends council approve the purchase of 648 95-gallon trash carts, from Sierra Container Group in the amount of $37,404.20, with $17,000 coming from the 2023 capital equipment budget and the remainder of $20,404.20 being funded with capital equipment reserve funds. And I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lendrum, seconded by Alderman Hillstrom. Is there any discussion on this item? Alderman Skirms.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple questions. Are these new additional replacements? Jerry, could you fill this in? I've got a couple questions, but that's my first one.
Sure, it's kind of a combination of the two. We have new carts that, we're short on 95-gallon carts right now. And, it's coming from cart swaps, damage to existing carts. So we need some for that. And then we also have, as the city's expanding, we've got calls for additional carts from new developments and also from residents that are looking to purchase an additional refuse cart or recycling cart.
Okay, thank you. And my second question is, in the budget, we thought we need 17,000 worth. We need 37,000 worth. That
The budget was based on the minimum order at the time that we were doing the budgeting. Reary Pacific was our provider to this point. They upped their minimum order size. And then as we were looking at how quickly we went through our last minimum order from them, which is about 11 months. So we said, let's take a look at a number for a full order. And so that's the request that you have in front of you. The overall, as we looked at it with the overall public works equipment in the budget, that given some savings we had seen on some other equipment, that we could still be under on our bottom line overall, even with this overage on the cart purchase.
Okay, and these don't spoil, so they keep on the shelf well?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Alderman Boyette.
Thank you. How many carts do we currently have on hand?
Well, we are, for damaged carts, we are requesting that if the damage can still be workable, that people hang on to them until we can get carts.
No, I'm talking about like the city in our storage. How many do we have on
In our
hand?
storage, we
Yeah.
have, I can't give you exact numbers on the 35 and the 65. Those are primarily what we have in storage. The 95s, we are essentially out.
We have none.
Yeah.
So if I wanted an extra one, you'd have to order one at that size.
Yeah, we've been using 65-gallon carts as an interim measure until the 95s can get here.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Are there any additional questions? Seeing none, there's a motion and a second for council to approve the purchase of 648 95-gallon refuse carts from Sierra Container Group. Please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0.
And number 4, and the final item, committee recommends council approve a 50/50 cost share for the amount in excess of escrow for the installation of the 2-inch asphalt mat at Freedom Acres and Homes at Freedom Meadows with a 5-year installment payback option, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lendrum, seconded by Alderman Boyette. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, the motion on the table is to recommend approval of a 50/50 cost share for the amount in excess of escrow for the installation of 2-inch asphalt mat at Freedom Acres and Homes at Freedom Meadows with a 5-year installment payback option. Please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0.
And that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you for your report. The next item on the agenda is the regular Finance and Personnel Committee meeting of June 12th. Alderman Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor. Reporting out from the regular Finance and Personnel Committee meeting of June 12th, 2023. The minutes can be found on the city website. Item number 1, the committee recommends council approve the purchase of a new laminator in the amount of $3,600 to be funded from the Capital Equipment Reserve Fund, and I so move.
Here's a motion by Alderman Erickson, seconded by Alderman Hillstrom. Is there any discussion on this item? Alderman Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is the non-budgeted item, and it says that after 30 years it needs to be replaced. Is it still working?
My understanding is it is not working anymore. It's in the Park and Recs department,
It's not working.
or working very poorly, my understanding.
Okay. I just caution that this is, we seem to be because of the inflationary environment we're living in, we're dipping more and more in the reserves. And while it's not a huge amount, it's $3,600. I just caution us to make sure that when we do that, it's absolutely necessary and not that, because this doesn't have to compete with any other capital item that will come before us. So, it's just concerning seeing how much we're tapping into reserves. In most cases, it's legit. In this, it could be as well. I'm just saying it's not a trend I like to see expanded.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device for approval of the purchase of a new laminator. That motion passes 9-0.
Item number 2, the committee recommends council approve resolution number 2023-13 to disengage with Associated Bank as voluntary deferred compensation provider for the city of Neenah. And I so move.
A motion by Alderman Erickson, seconded by Council President Borchert. Alderman Boyette.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm curious, who are we going to be using in place of Associated Bank?
I'll defer to Director Fairchild.
I'm going at the advice of our financial advisor with M3 Financial. They've looked over all of the fees and structure, and Mission Squared is our primary resource for most of our deferred compensation. We also offer nationwide, but they have recommended the rollover to go into Mission Squared.
Okay.
Yes, it's formerly known as ICMA RC. They rebranded about 3 years ago, and so they are a deferred compensation alternative.
And are they this is the only account we have with them thus far?
As far as, we have a Roth and we have 457 through Mission Square.
It's $1.
It is a nationwide deferred compensation plan. I actually utilize them in Oklahoma as well, so they're renowned. Their fee structure is much lower, so they will serve the employee. The city pays nothing on this. It's a complete employee base, but we're trying to be good stewards of our employee resources.
Okay, I appreciate the information. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions on this item? There's a motion and a second on the floor for council to approve resolution number 2023-13. Please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0.
Item number 3, the committee recommends council approve the new recommended job posting procedure, and I so move.
It's a motion by Alderman Erickson, seconded by Council President Borchert. Are there any questions? Alderman Boyette.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just curious, I guess I look at this, I understand that it will shorten potentially the hiring process. But I look at this from a different angle, and I look at it as finance and personnel. This is a personnel issue, and if we're not having much to do because we're lessening our duties as personnel advisors and policymakers, then what do the aldermen do for the personnel? So I'm kind of concerned on that, and I'm curious why or what potentially we could do to increase the staff involvement in getting this to the finance meetings in a more timely manner, because we do meet every 2 weeks. So rather than taking away this this duty of the alderman in that capacity, what could we do with staff to get this to our committees in a more timely manner, if anything?
So we are sending them to you as soon as the vacancy occurs. And the staff resource that goes into creating that backup to go to it whenever it's a budgeted position, it takes some time in addition to Christine, who is our rec recruiter, her processing that email and then getting that out to you. That could be a day or two's notice, and then there's that 7-day passive notice. So the problem we're seeing here is we have a very volatile hiring market right now, and we're having a hard time getting applicants coming in. And I understand your position, I really do, and whenever there are new positions or restructured positions, I value this. The fact that these are budgeted and pre-approved positions, there's no change to them. My point to this is I still want you to be involved with understanding turnover, how many people have left a department and come in, so that if there's a question that you'd like to arise, you're going to be able to see that in one report. And I think that has more value to you than just an individual posting every so often, because you'll get a snapshot of every position at once versus one position at a time. And if I see a pattern, I'm more than happy to flag that in that report that I've put in this outline that we'll present to you. There's a structure here also to verify that we are staying within budget, that we're going through checks and balances internally. But the point of this is to do turnaround a little bit more seamlessly.
So to kind of dovetail on that then, if there's basically no change to anything to do with that position, then why aren't we looking at streamlining the policy to, I guess, I mean, that's all it is you're just putting a new name and a new body in the position, so to speak, and there's no other need to have consult on that from the alderman or from this committee, then why isn't that just already part of our process?
That's what we're trying to do.
That's what this is.
That's what this is.
Okay.
It will make it much more efficient and effective. And I really applaud Director Fairchild's efforts in this.
And I'm not discrediting you. I just think there's a lot of work that goes into this. And I get it, the work is what takes up the time. And if you can't get it to us in a timely fashion, or you do get it to us and we approve it, or what if we don't approve it? And then all that work you guys have done is basically, wasn't needed.
Right.
And so, there's a whole nother shoe there, if you will, to
This
fit.
is to lean that process out. We do want to bring to light any positions that are new or restructured or that we have concern with or exceed the budgetary amount, the same as we have done. This is just to remove those budgeted positions that have already been approved and have no change.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor. Correct me if I'm wrong, Director Fairchild. This is the passive review
Yes.
where you send out an email and we have a week to respond to it. Oftentimes, you don't hear back from us.
Correct.
In that case, that 7-day period loses 7 days of time for you to set up an interview and move on this hiring process, correct?
Correct. Yeah, the passive review acts as a pocket veto, so unless there's been somebody that brings to light some area of concern, we sit on it for the 7 days, and thereby makes that a longer process for us, which that's the part we're trying to shorten.
Thank you.
There's a motion and a second on, Alderman Stevenson.
Thank you. I just want to dovetail on Alderperson Erickson's question. So when I saw this, I was aware of the relatively recent change from requiring come before the committee, getting approval, and then approval maybe even at the council, to this passive review process. So what this action, correct me if I'm wrong, I'll make sure I understand it. What this action does is take the passive review and eliminates the period. The passive review is really a notification after the fact to the committee saying we've had an opening and we're going to hire. Is that correct? Passive review goes away?
The passive review goes away. I will, in turn, present a report to let you know the turnover that is happening within the city so that part you're still aware of. But the passive review is approving an already budgeted position, which is redundant, and also I value time more than I value anything else. Your time is important. Our employees' time is important. So this is to lean that process and bring to you the actual changes that have not already been previously approved.
Okay, so I support everything you just said. The only thing I didn't realize was that Finance and Personnel Committee was the only recipients of the passive review notification. Doesn't go to the complete council?
No.
That was
Okay.
changed with
Okay,
the
so
original.
could I ask, it doesn't appear to be any more work, since we've changed it from a passive review to a simply notification process, that the entire council get that listing of all these changes so that we're all aware of it and it's just an extra email to read.
You can do that. I can blind
I would
copy
like
the
to, I would,
council in my
not
report.
being on finance anymore, I would like to see that.
That's understandable. I
Thank
can
you.
make that happen.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions? There's a motion and a second on the floor to recommend council approve the new recommended job posting procedure. Please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0.
Item number 4, the committee recommends council accept the final pay plan with the results of the associated appeals, and I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Erickson, seconded by Alderman Skirms. Is there any discussion on this item? Alderman Boyette.
Sorry, I obviously wasn't at this meeting.
I understand.
I apologize. Can you, in a nutshell, just kind of give me a once-over on this? Because I couldn't understand it from the notes.
Right. Okay. So, as you know, I came in at the end of the pay plan, so I wasn't here at the beginning. It went to council for approval in November. I had gotten here in October, so it took me a little bit of time to catch up on the work that went into this plan. So the employees were given a deadline by which to appeal where they landed in the pay plan. We presented that to our consulting firm with the backup instruction for the basis for their appeals, and they presented us a response that basically changed 5 different positions from their current grade to 1 grade higher. Then we had 2 additional positions that one of which was approved for 1 grade higher. However, we still feel it is out of alignment with where it should be. So after discussing it with the mayor and with our city attorney and the appropriate department head, we came to a concord that we felt that these 2 additional positions should be advanced above and beyond where our consulting firm placed them.
Thank you. Alderman Stevenson.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so that helps answer some of my concerns. So the building manager and open records clerk, those 2 positions appealed their grade, is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. And the appeal for the building manager
Was denied.
based on, what is the name of that company now?
Carlson and Detman.
Still Carlson Detman? Thought they were bought. Okay, so the appeal request for the building manager came back at 10.
Correct.
But we internally decided to change it to 11?
We internally felt as though it was underclassified. Their argument was he does not directly manage any individual parties other than a seasonal intern, which we felt was not really in alignment with what he actually does, because he is very instrumental in I think Jerry could probably speak to this a little better.
Yeah, Pat is,
We're talking about a position, not a person.
oh, I'm sorry.
Correct.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
talking about what this
And this
position
is
does.
true of the previous holder of the
I
position,
just
too.
want to make sure we're clear.
The person in this position works with all of the buildings that the city manages. To some a lesser degree, police department, for example, it's more an advisory position. But certainly with the city garages, city hall, library, it's a fairly integral component of making those buildings work and function well. And I don't, as Director Fairchild mentioned, I don't think the Carlson Detman review of that position and the information through the survey that they require completely captures what that position does throughout.
So isn't the procedure then at that point, if we feel that way, to go back to the people we're paying some pretty significant money to come up with these recommendations, to build a case so that they understand it, so they, rather than us just somewhat arbitrarily deciding to do it on our own?
The pay plan, the structure in here specifically states that the mayor does have the authority to reclassify if they feel like it's out of alignment, but there needs to be a grounds and a basis behind it.
With council approval.
Yes. And so our grounds and basis was they did not take into account that managerial aspect of other facilities and at sometimes individuals. And with not taking that into account, if they would have taken that into account, it would have rolled it into that next position.
So the other 5 positions up above, those were all appealed by the positions, and Carlson Detman, you made those recommendations?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to assure you, Alderman Stevenson, that this process was not in any way arbitrarily approached. It was very methodical. So just want you to be assured of that.
Okay, thank you. It's not often we deviate from Carlson Detman's recommendation.
I can attest to, it depends on who is ranking it through the JDQ that they present on how they evaluate a position. We recently submitted a position for reclassification through the library where they copied and pasted another position and changed the word youth to adult, and they put them in 2 different class codes. It's the same job description.
Thanks.
Are there any other questions? Alderman Boyette.
I'm just curious if that report from Carlson and Detman, did that go through finance?
Yes,
Do you recall when?
June 12th. June 12th at our last meeting.
Oh, the one I wasn't at. That's why. Thank you.
Yes.
Are there any further questions? There's a motion on the second and a second to accept the final pay plan with the results of the associated appeals. Please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. The next item on the agenda is the regular Plan Commission meeting of June 13th. Council Representative Steiner.
Thank you, Mayor. I have one informational item only. And City Clerk Nagel identified just one slight update to the wording in Section A. The Commission approved the site proposed addition to the Rollmeister Inc. building located at 2474 Schultz Drive, subject to comments of the site plan review letter.
Thank you for your report. Next item on the agenda is the Board of Public Works meeting of June 13th. Vice Chairman Hilstrom.
Thank you, Mayor Lang. Minutes from this meeting can be found on the city website. There are five informational only items this evening and 1 council action item. A, the board approved change order number 2, contract 5-23, street curb and gutter, sidewalk apron construction and Arthur Platt, Cardinal Platt, Integrity Acres, First Addition to Integrity Acres and Liberty Acres, the MCC Incorporated of Appleton for sidewalk installation at Freedom Acres and Homes of Freedom Meadows in the amount of not to exceed $183,440. Item B, the board approved change order number 1, contract 6-23, Columbian Avenue, sanitary and storm sewer, water main and street construction to Donald Hippis and Sons Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $50,067 for sanitary sewer relay on Bellevue Road. Item C, the board approved pay request number 2, contract 623, Columbian Avenue, sanitary and storm sewer, water main and street construction to Donald Hippis and Sons Incorporated of Little Chute in the amount of $139,027.13. Item D, the board approved pay request number 2, contract 1-23, sanitary sewer, water main and street construction on Burr Avenue, Chestnut Street, Ecoff Street, and Loudon Boulevard to Don E. Parker Incorporated in the amount of $706,857.59. Item E, the board approved pay request number 2, contract 5-23, street construction on Arthur Platt, Cardinal Platt, Integrity Acres, First Addition to Integrity Acres and Liberty Heights Subdivision to MCC Incorporated in the amount of $867,850.58. The 1 council action item this evening, the board recommends council award contract 11-23, street construction on Brookwood Drive, Fairwood Drive, and Hunt Avenue to Northeast Asphalt in the amount of $486,851, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Hillstrom, seconded by Alderman
Second.
Lendrum. Is there any discussion on this item? The motion and the second are to recommend council award contract 11-23. No discussion. Please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0.
That concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you for your very long report. Next item on the agenda is reports on neighborhood groups. The Business Improvement District Board, Alderman Skirms.
Thank you, Mayor. The bid board met yesterday, June 20th, for the annual maintenance walkthrough of the downtown. The gathering was well attended by bid board, future Neenah staff, some city directors, the mayor, property owners, tenants. Areas of concern were noted, assigned to the responsible parties to look into and correct. All in all, the district's full and in pretty good shape. That ends my report.
Thank you for your report. The Library Board, Alderman Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor. The Neenah Public Library Board of Trustees met today at 4 p.m. And I am pleased to report that the Youth Summer Library Program is off to a great start. But I'd like to highlight there is an adult summer reading program that started June 1st and runs through August 21st. And it is you still can sign up. If you would like to participate, I would suggest that you stop at the reference desk and they will explain how to fill out the forms and what you need to do. And it should be a great program. Every time you check out a book, share book reviews, or log your summer reading, you are entered for a chance to win a prize. So there's a lot of programming going on at the library. Please visit the Neenah Public Library website for all of the information. And remember to check out some books.
Thank you for your report. Next item on the agenda is the Neenah Arts Council, Alderman Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor. The Neenah Arts Council met on July 14th, and we participated in the farmers market this past weekend. We had a very busy and active booth where we created 3D turtles, and we made impressions into clay. So it was a really fun activity. We will be at the Community Fest and then the National Night Out in August. And that concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. The next item. Alderman Borchert, sorry.
I just wanted to add, since it was the art report, there's Art After the Dark for the Bergstrom Mahler Museum tomorrow night, June 22nd, from 6 to 9:30. It's a free community event, so stop on. And then appropriate.
And for some cake. There will be cake. Next item on the agenda, the Landmarks Commission, Alderman Weber.
Thank you, Mayor. The Landmarks Commission did not formally meet. However, I'd like to share that the wagon tour did occur this past Saturday as well. Very successful, served over 100 young kids and adults. It was co-sponsored with from the Neenah Historical Society, and Jim Taylor and his wife helped out. Sarah Bauer was the tour guide, the Cooper Farms owner, Julie Cooper, and First Hitch Company owner, Neil Bredesen, and his sister Linda were also part of that. So wanted to make sure that the council heard that this was another good year of that event. So, thank you, and that ends my report.
Thank you for that report. I followed up by visiting with Neil and Julie and also heard from a lot of community members that they really enjoyed the wagon rides. So thank you for coordinating. The next item on the agenda, presentation of petitions. Are there any petitions?
No petitions.
Next item on the agenda, council directives. Alderman Skirms.
Thank you, Mayor. For those of you who did not make it to page 92 of the packet today, Director Hayes put forth some information regarding this. In essence, a package of bills relating to housing passed the State Assembly and Senate this last Wednesday. The governor received it on Friday, but has not taken any action on the bills yet. and what he does may affect recommendation from staff under the directive that's been requested. We should know more by next week. Therefore, I move to postpone staff's presentation to us till the next council meeting on July 5th.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is
Mayor,
Oh, I'm sorry.
that was a motion.
Okay, sorry about that.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to postpone discussion or presentation by the Community Development Director and City Attorney for recommendation on appropriate action regarding this council directive to the July 5th meeting. There's a motion by Alderman Skirms and seconded.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Seconded by Alderman Steiner. Alderman Stevenson.
Yeah, given the meeting is July 5th, typically council has not always met that week. Are we planning on meeting?
We are planning on meeting. We did meet last year too, right after the 4th. There are other items that are already planned for that agenda that are necessary. So sorry about that.
So
it is a kind of a holiday week, but
I have
sorry.
brewer tickets.
Oh no. He's got brewer tickets.
No, I have Cub brewer.
Oh, Cub brewer tickets. Oh, all the better. Oh no. Ooh. Sorry about that. There's a motion and a second on the table. Any further discussion? Please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 9-0. Sorry to have been rushing that along. The next item on the agenda is unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business to discuss? Seeing none. New business, Arrowhead Park Development Status Report, Alderman Hillstrom.
Thank you, Mayor. About the only thing new is the pier is finished, and there's no 6 benches out on it, so walk around the end, sit down, and enjoy the view. Into my report.
Thank you for that. We need to schedule the annual council photo. That is the next item on the agenda. Did we have a recommendation on a potential date? Or would you like us to just, should we send out a date and then see who can, we'll send out a couple of different dates and see who we can make it work for.
We typically do it in conjunction with a council meeting, so it's
Yeah,
like
right before. Yep.
It's not suggested July 5th.
Okay. All right, we will do that. Any other announcements or questions that may legally come before the council? Seeing none, is there a motion to move into closed session? There's a motion by Council President Borchard and seconded by Alderman Stevenson to move into closed session. We will take a short 5-minute break for, oh, sorry, we're voting. Cast your vote, please. That motion passes 9-0. We'll take a short break to accommodate those who need to leave the council chambers at this point, and then we will move into closed session.
Broadcasts of the City of Neenah Common Council meetings are produced by University Studios of the University of Wisconsin, Fox Valley. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents via the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues or about these broadcasts by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or by completing the electronic feedback form on the city website, www.neenahgov.org. www.neenahgov.org. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited for playback.